Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to join you this afternoon.
Abhinav, if we go back to that historic day in 2008, what is that one thing that you remember the most about that day? I remember speaking to you after a few hours after that historic achievement, and you telling me that you were completely detached about the outcome.
Yes, I was, of course, detached from outcomes, but of course, it was a moment of great thrill. It was a moment of great relief because I put in so much hard work for 15 years of my life, attempting to win a gold medal. And of course, it was a dream. And, I used to go to bed every night with this dream of standing on the top step of an Olympic podium. And that was the day when that dream came to reality. That dream came to reality, of course, with the result of years and years of hard work, with the result of years and years of perseverance, of determination, lots of failure along the way. The success was reached really by lots of experiences, and most of those experiences were experiences where I did not succeed. But I kept persevering through them, I kept learning through them, and really focused a lot on preparation. I think I went into Beijing as one who was very well prepared, and I had taken every possible vertical out of the equation in terms of my preparation. So even before I boarded my flight to Beijing, I asked myself that question, that had I put in everything that I humanly possibly could put in to give myself the best chances to succeed in Beijing? The answer was yes. I had done everything humanly possible to put in that effort. And that was really what mattered, because, even before I shot my first shot at Beijing, I was already a winner. I was a winner in my own eyes. And I think that gave me great security, it gave me great comfort, because, I perhaps had to, whatever the result of the Olympic competition that day, I would have had to face all of you and people maybe for an hour after that, but I would have had to confront myself for the rest of my life. And there I was already a winner, because I had my own self-respect, because I had worked hard and I put in everything that I possibly could. So that led to that detachment, but that led to also a great amount of security from within, that no matter what, I've done all that I can. And that was something which was invaluable. It's very hard to pinpoint it as one experience. I think each experience was valuable. Most of, I failed 4 out of the 5 times, but I do not classify them as failures. I classify them as great life learning experiences, and that was what was important. And, I keep learning even to date. I am no longer an athlete, but the learning never ceases. 2013, I knew that Rio would be my last day on the shooting range, and I'd spent 20 years of my life devoted and dedicated to this sport, which is a fairly long period of time. And of course, priorities have changed, and priorities at that point of time also changed. But I think what really changed, and what I really am proud of, was the change of outlook of our athletes. Because, I grew up in an era where a gold medal in an individual event had not happened, and it almost seemed out of our horizon. But that glass ceiling was broken one day, and since that day, our young boys and girls aspire much higher. They have this belief that they can win. And they want to not just compete at the Olympic Games to attend and be Olympians. They want to go there and become Olympic champions. And that change of mindset, I think, has been extraordinary, because the attitudes, the fearlessness, the courage, the professionalism, the hard work that our athletes of this generation display, the young boys and girls, they're so young, is exemplary. And I think that has come about because they have that. Yes, I think, of course, the pandemic has been challenging for society, and athletes are nowhere, do not have a armor plate against the challenges that a pandemic brings. Of course, there have been health challenges, but I think there have also been a lot of mental challenges to people in general, because it has brought in its own degrees of insecurities, and own degrees of suffering, of hardship, of anxiety. So the mental aspect has been very, very challenging for most people. But I'm encouraged by the fact that I think the most resilient population that I know in the world are a group called the athletes. And I think I just am sure and positive that they've drawn up on this resilience that athletes possess. Athletes also require a great amount of adaptability to perform well at the high level. Because in sport, nothing can be scripted. You can prepare well, but there can always be something which comes up, which is not really considered, and that requires adaptability to the situation. So I think that overcoming the pandemic also requires a great amount of adaptability to athletes, but also society in general. We're all seeing so many changes happening in our lives, right? And I think athletes as well have had to adapt. And I think even going into the Olympic Games, that adaptability, a week going into the games, that adaptability will still be required as soon as they land in Tokyo, because these games are going to be an event like never before. I mean, these are very special games being held in very special circumstances, perhaps just to make these Olympic dreams come true. And that there, it would also require a great amount of adaptability on behalf of the athletes, because they will be inconvenienced because of all the rules and regulations that they have to follow. They have no choice but to follow them to make this event a safe and secure event. So just be flexible in mindset and be adaptable. And I think that would be the best mental strategy. Well, I view sport as, I'm not involved in sport so closely anymore. I don't even watch sport so much. My involvement in Indian sport is more like that of a fan. And as a fan, I remain very hopeful going into these games. I think yes, I think the Olympic movement has been a flag bearer of gender equality. I think it is really showing the world the way forward. I think Tokyo has not achieved 100% gender equality, but already at 98% gender equality. Paris, the games in Paris will be completely there will be parity achieved. So 50% women, 50% men, same number of events will be achieved in Paris. But Tokyo is already very much there, and I think leading your nation in and having giving every nation the possibility to have a woman and a man enter the Olympic Stadium is a wonderful message. I think it is a great message. The Olympic Games is much more than a sporting competition. I think the real power of the Olympic Games is not about winning those medals. The real power of the Olympic Games is how it unites people, how the world comes together for a period of 2 weeks. In 5 days' time, the Olympic Village is going to be perhaps the most unique place on this planet. You're going to have people from 206 countries and one Olympic refugee team living together in peace and harmony, with spirit of friendship and respect, yet competing in a very, very intense competition. It certainly is a very unifying message that, although we are competitive and nations are competitive, we can all live in this spirit and of friendship and respect. So I think the Games give out a very powerful message to the world. And given what has occurred in the world with the pandemic in the last 2 years, I believe the Games are very relevant to give out this message of unity to everybody concerned. I know it sounds lofty, and I do know that it might not have practicality, but let's not undermine what the power of a great message that can do to inspire people. Against a certain country just because of the situation on how the pandemic is evolving in various parts of the world. Some places are much better than others. Some are struggling. Look at Indonesia, for example, at the moment, really bad situation there. I think we have to have that degree of sensibility and that little bit of understanding to overcome these extra restrictions. It's a 3-day soft quarantine for the athletes. They will may even get some training possibilities. It's just that the normal day-to-day will be a little bit more restricted than others.
I remember you telling me in 2008 that you don't want to be alone in the gold medal company, but unfortunately we are still waiting for our second individual Olympic champion. After the disappointment in Rio, will our graph curve go up again in Tokyo? What, according to you, is India's best case scenario?
Well, I view sport as I'm not involved in sport so closely anymore. I don't even watch sport so much. My involvement in Indian sport is more like that of a fan. And as a fan, I remain very hopeful going into these games. I think the hype around many of our athletes is not just hype. I think it's very real because, never before in our history have we had so many athletes going into an Olympic game, starting out as world number one, starting out as world number twos, starting out as favorites at the games. It's never happened in our history. And we should be very proud of them. We should celebrate even this is a huge achievement.
कैसा लगा ये वीडियो हमें कमेंट सेक्शन में ज़रूर बताएं और अगर ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो इसे लाइक और शेयर भी करें और हमारे चैनल एशिया नेट न्यूज़ हिंदी को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें और इसके नोटिफिकेशन पाने के लिए बेल आइकन को ज़रूर दबाएं।